Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, and High King Ruoin, the leader of the Gaelsh people, has a good chunk of work to do to stabilize his new realm. The first thing he's going to do is add tenestry to the Kingdom of Wales. Now, once upon a time, this would have meant that a single election would have occurred for the kingdoms of Ireland and Wales. I don't think that happens anymore. But with any luck, we should be in a position to push through our son and heir, Sean. So he is going to inherit Ireland and Wales. Now, Ruoin recently married the Duchess of Galicia. And if they have a son, that would be a rather interesting candidate for the succession. But I'd then need to try and push them through in two separate elections. So I don't think that's going to happen. Now, here's a rather awkward scenario. In the last episode, Ruoin divorced Estefina because she has taken as her lover our Archbishop. And she's had a child with us, but because we're divorced, if we now claim the child, we'll become an adulterer. So this is a rather bizarre scenario, a scandal in waiting. So the whole situation with Estefina, that's an issue with the game mechanics. This is a problem of our own creation. Ekra, we met her on was it on a tour while we were travelling? Brought her back to the court. I never thought it would come to this. The legend of the Red Hand of Ulster is up to 178 baronies. I'm not too sure we're going to be able to get it up to 300. But we're going to continue pushing it, because I think we have another suitable candidate who might be able to help us to promote the legend. And that is our good friend Prince Tostig, the future King of England. We can ask him to promote the legend, and there is a good chance that he will. There you go, fair play to him. And we're seeing some of the rulers in the Isles are abandoning their efforts to promote the legend. Here's another awkward romantic situation. My spymaster, Chieftain Laura, has accused my brother Cumla of having an affair with his soulmate. So, they're lovers, but he won't put a ring on it. This accusation is naught but malice and lies. We've been invited to a feast. We've been sat close to our wife, who we are attempting to romance. Suddenly, the loudest fart I have ever heard erupts from our table. And either we could take the blame, it was me, I farted, we will lose some prestige, but she might gain opinion with us, or we can stay quiet, but we will gain stress because we are brave, so we will bravely claim ownership of the fart. She is relieved and grateful. Oh god, here's Ekra with our daughter. That's another scandal in waiting. And we receive the news that our wife is bearing child at the same time that plague-bearing rats have appeared down in the bottom right-hand corner. And appeared right there as well. And it is rather bad timing for that plague, because I have just decided to raise the armies and send them into Scotland to acquire some money. We're not going to be hitting England. It's taken a bit of a battering, but it still has a fairly strong army, and we've built fairly good relations with the King of England, so we're not going to raid there. We're going to concentrate on Scotland, and hopefully that plague doesn't move northwards. Or westwards. And so with that plague spreading rapidly through England, our pregnant wife has taken this opportunity to travel to Canterbury. Have a good trip, and stay away from the rats. And so here indeed we have a son, and I think at the moment heir to the Duchy of Galicia. Gormachon. May you grow to not be bitten by any of the rats that are running around near Canterbury at the moment. So we are told that our court poet, Beatrice, is no longer our court poet. She has died of old age. However, she also greets me at the court this morning, eager with news on the tip of her tongue. So somebody can be convinced it doesn't... These guys don't make much of a difference, because Ireland is already totally swamped with the legend. So these are really just chances for us to lose prestige. Oh no. One morning, when we're out walking Bran, our dog, and this idiot shows up with another dog, and the two of them run off. You fool. So unfortunately, at the moment, we are not in a position to appoint another court poet. We will appoint a chronicler, however. And we might as well appoint Ava, the beautiful wife of one of our knights, Laura Mock Owen Barry. So that is Owen Barry, who was slain in battle by French Rory, I believe. So we will appoint her as our new court chronicler, because I think Beatrice had both of those positions. And we will set her to the task of extolling the domestic legend, so glorifying their liege's legend and amplifying its spread. My son and heir, High Chieftain Sean, and I find the two dogs after a while in the middle of a playful fight. Daddy, what are those dogs doing? Shut up, Sean, look away. And what terrible news this is in the midst of our rampaging around Scotland. Gotthard. I think we took him in a... Did we take him hostage in a war? And he was the only man who knew how to knock down a wall. And the poor man has died at 75 years of age from heart failure. And so we will need to appoint a successor as Master of the Horse to keep that knight effectiveness up. I'm not too sure where he came from, but Geodfree will be appointed as the new Master of the Horse. And here is our first battle in a while. We've gotten caught in Scotland by the army of the King of Scotland. They're bringing in 4,600 against Ruoin with just 2,700, and our other forces are separated by a bit. I was trying to snake my way in here without going into regions that would have given me attrition penalties, and we've spread the army a bit too thin. So I'm not too sure they're going to be able to get in time to help. Doesn't look like it. They're turning the course of the battle a bit. I don't think it's going to work. Donal has been killed from what I can see. Now we get asked about the common people. We'll give the same excuse that we always give. It is clearly a noble's tale. But it looks like this is this the second major defeat that we've suffered in Scotland? We suffered one a number of decades ago that left the High King of Ireland in Scottish captivity, and we have lost all of that lovely, lovely gold. And boys, oh boys, the King of Bohemia has moved quickly. Kovla's husband was slain on the 9th of November, and Johann is straight in there to marry this 30-year-old giant to his 16-year-old son, the future King of Sardinia. We could try to keep that trait in the family, but you know what? Go on. I wonder, is his father taking the piss? So Donald O'Voyle's death has left us in a bad state. Not as bad as the state that poor Chieftain Laura has been left in with the loss of his arm. Donald O'Voyle was our steward, and he was pushing the Gaelish culture. So we need somebody who is strong in stewardship. We have a number of people. We don't have any strong vassals, though. Regoin might get angry if we don't give him a position. So what I'm probably going to have to do is put our Chancellor in as our new steward, because he has pretty much the best stats of the powerful vassals. and then give this to, was it Orthanuk? Yeah. So a rather hefty defeat, more as a result of not watching what we were doing than anything else. We should be able to get the army back together quickly. CK3 did a fairly good job his first day out as Master of the Horse. And we have gotten some money together through selling hostages. And there's another couple of euro to come in. And we won't make 100 gold, but we are in a position to keep the kingdom going and to prepare for a larger war against Scotland. And so today our son Sean comes of age, but it's a fairly muted affair, because he spent the night baiting the living daylights out of himself and he's too sick to actually get up and do anything. So he was being trained for the elusive shadow, the intrigue lifestyle, and he seems to have made moderate. Okay, he's fairly good. So this is the future ruler, as long as he doesn't beat himself to death, the future ruler of Ireland and Wales. And quite a while ago, a marriage was organised between him and a distant member of the family, Findliath, who has a number of very, very powerful claims to regions that were just quite mean to us. So the entire kingdom of Scotland, well, the core part of Scotland, basically. So she's 24, he's 16. We will send that proposal. Maybe she can knock some sense into him. And even though our last incursion into Scotland wasn't all that successful, Ruoin, with the fires blazing in his sunglasses, is now known as the Terror from Oriel and has been given the trait Raider, which is going to augment his martial, his prowess, and his prestige per month. Ruoin has gained himself another learning lifestyle perk, and as you can see, I'm kind of splitting between Scholar and Theologian. This is predominantly what I've been looking for. The Convert Faith in County progress speed goes up 25%. And now that we have managed to rapidly recover our forces after the defeat about a year ago, in Scotland, we are going to go right back. This time, however, we are going to declare war. We could demand the artifact, but we are instead going to declare war over the Áed Findliath dynasty banner, which Scotland has in its possession since it seized the kingdom. We could leave this task to Sean as part of an invasion at the behest of his wife, but instead, Ruoin, recently elevated to the rank of Raider, is going to claim all the glory for himself. We have to pay 150 prestige, or we have to spend 150 prestige to get the wife to join in the war. I'm hoping this isn't going to freeze the romance scheme. We got an instantaneous response because we probably just had to roll over in the bed and ask her. And considering that he has got a chunk of forces, I think 1,900, just under 2,000 forces, we will also call our son-in-law into the war. And what has happened here? We have inherited the Earldom of Alloch from Chieftain Connla. So there he is, the poor man. Dead, died from his wounds. Are those wounds that he received in that war against the Scottish? I am not so sure. He decided to get married very late in life. For a period of time, he was a potential successor to the High Kingship, so he will go down in the annals as Ridauna, and also as a bit of an old fool. There you go, he was High King. Fair play to him. I didn't know that. Now, as we're over our domain limit, I've been looking around for a suitable character to give out some land to. I think I'm going to give away Ulla. Going to retain the lands that we have in Wales, and I want to hold on to Alloch and Argyll. And the most suitable candidate, there's a couple of male members of the family, but they are advanced in years with no sons. here is our batshit insane aunt, Dovesa, and she was married matrilinearly to Gilachrist, so their son, Natfriach, is of House Enail. So I am going to, I'm not too sure if I can grant her a title, I can't. So instead it will go to Gilachrist. So he has given himself the surname of Dunpodrig. Doesn't make much of a difference because his son will succeed him and restore the county to House Enail. Our forces are ready and waiting to attack Scotland. I was waiting to see if this region would actually join them. I'm also waiting for some forces to join me. So here comes the wife. And you know what? That is enough, and we will begin our march into Scotland. I've just appointed a new knight to succeed as the Red Branch Knight, and I was looking for a potential marriage for them, and it reminded me to check in on this romance. So Prince Theodoric has just turned 16, he's now 17 years of age. And yeah, that didn't take long. So we'll see. There's going to be some interesting genetic battling here. So we have hit the main Scottish army, and as can be seen, things are not going well at the moment. Our son Sean is looking for things from us to promote the legend of the Red Hand. His liege's favour should suffice. It looks as though this is another battle. Has our wife managed to turn it in our favour? I don't think so. We're down to just a handful of forces, and it was looking good there for a moment. We're being told about war score. I'm pretty confident I know about war score at this stage. So we have lost a number of troops there. We're being hunted down now, and actually now our brother-in-law is getting his forces up. I had seen with a while that he had raised them, and he was just kind of doing nothing down here, which is why I decided to go in with the forces that we had. And like I said, we're being chased down. And we suffered 2 hefty losses there. I think this was our court tutor and our personal guard. So again, in his old age, I think the High King is becoming a bit careless with his forces, or is maybe beginning to believe a bit too much in the propaganda and the stories that are told of his greatness. We did manage to kill one of their knights. Orthanuk managed to get a kill. I think there was another one. Senfus the Heartless Henry. And somebody just died from internal injuries. I thought maybe he had a heart attack on the battlefield. As things are starting to look dicey, the High King is going to have to call another of his allies into a war. This is the Duke of Mercia. We had a long-lasting alliance with his mother, and he is betrothed to our daughter. Now he says, of course, he will join just as the Scottish forces begin to chase down our son-in-law's forces, and they have indeed managed to hit him. Now the war might be going poorly, but our scheme to romance our wife is going quite well. She's gotten into some trouble, she's screaming. And we can become soulmates with our wife. We managed to save her in the middle of the battle. And actually her forces, it looked like they were about to turn around and go back out, which wouldn't have been a great idea. I'm not really one to talk and give advice on what is or isn't a good idea at this stage. Our new steward has managed to push the culture of Gaelsh. I think it was in Alach. We will go next for Athlone. It might have been Dublin. So it's going to take 4 years to convert. And has Dublin converted to Gaelsh? It has. That's fantastic. So it's gone from Norse to Gaelsh. Never Irish. And just in case we get into a tremendous amount of trouble, we'll start prepping some more alliances. Here is our son, Brandov. And here is the daughter of the Duchess of Holland, I believe, with 2,500 troops to her name. So we will send that proposal. She is chaste, but the two of them are brave. And sure, that makes up for that. I was just about to say that we've gotten all the forces together, but never mind. Off you go. Thanks for calling. Okay, whatever. I'm going to merge the armies under Ruocoin this time. And we're going to begin to push into Scotland just as we approach the new year. Our wife, bless her, has taken the forces in the wrong direction. Our son-in-law has gotten himself isolated behind the back of the Scottish forces. So what are we going to do? Head for here and hope that our wife is able to catch up, but that's going to give her another... Oh, you're going doing that as well. Okay. Oh, bless that fool of a son-in-law of ours. He's after going up and trying to attack a place and has gotten himself absolutely wiped. Do you know what? He's distracting them. The battle is turning into such a disaster that Bran basically has decided to run away. We'll be patient. And our daughter, Duchess Muirin, whose husband got himself isolated up in this end of the field, has found the dog. So I think the dog ran up to try and tell him, barking at him, "No, you're an idiot, pull back." So we've started sieging down Dunbar. Our wife has planted herself here as the Scottish army comes down towards her. So we're going to have to lift our siege and go in there because they are going to be down on top of her in a minute. Okay, so Dunbar is being sieged down by one of our allies. Our wife is tempting the Scottish, the Norse Scottish, and we're being told something about our neighbour, the King of England. He's after getting himself a haircut. He had very long hair at one stage. He's after getting himself a haircut. So his son, who we haven't called into this war, is promoting the Legend of the Red Hand. We could try and get his father as well. There's a 12% chance that we fail. And we've managed to succeed. That is fantastic. Now, this isn't fantastic. We're beginning to question the legitimacy of our son. I mean, that Scottish army is quite close to you. It'd be a terror if we pulled our army away. We need to make sure. We're being told that apparently our initial concerns were misgivings. If Gormacon is not my true-born child, he cannot hide anything from me. So we picked up the baby. He's 3 years of age. We shook him. Tell me the truth. Who's your father? You were there. You know. And he's upset with me. And after all the exciting adventures he has had, we receive the devastating news that our dog Bran has died, and as is only fitting and appropriate, we will skin him and put his hide up in the court. Prestige plus 0.03 per month. Knight effectiveness, God knows our knights need some effectiveness, goes up 5%, and court grandeur bonus plus 2. Bran, you will always be not by my side, but kind of just hanging, I think, above my left shoulder, because I am going to remove the wild hair hide created by our ex-wife, Estefina. It does give double the prestige of the great hair hide, but that was created by Flanacoin, and I don't want Flanacoin to be removed from the place entirely, so I'm going to take this down, and in its place we will put Bran's pelt. So the war score is ticking in a not so great direction, but thankfully our wife and our allies have managed to get it under control some bit. And look at this for a development. We've just been informed that Citric of the Isles has drank himself to death, and it looks like his son, who was ruling Northumbria, has inherited, which means that they have now this huge chunk of land and Man has split off from the Isles. Now, we don't have great forces at the moment, however, the Scottish are refusing to give battle. They have withdrawn, and we're continuing to siege down some areas. We are losing money hand over fist, though. That is a bit of a problem. The wife is pregnant again, and another issue that we have, of course, is that we've no great siege engineers. So I have put Cullum O'Neill Moore, so this is the successor to the Red Branch Knight. What's going on over here? Brandove has come of age. Gotten himself... He's a fairly good marshal, fair play to him. I'm wondering where these devils are going. They don't have all that many options. And we're being told that there is some relation between our son Brandove and the daughter of the Duchess of Holland. I'm not too sure where that relation could be. We will send the proposal anyway. And something that I forgot to do after I finished the romance scheme against my wife, is that the right way to put it, is to begin swaying the Duchess or the Queen of Brittany, because we could ask her to promote the legend of the Red Hand of Ulster as we share a language. The chance at the moment is pretty low, so we will try and sway her first of all, even though she has a pretty solid opinion of us. So we mightn't get all that much of an increase. We'll sway her and then we'll try and get her to promote the legend. So we're into a positive war score. We're seeing the Scottish forces going in some direction. What the hell is going on here? So the bad thing about this is it's going to take one of our major allies out of the war. We're of course going to have to accept. So there we can see their forces heading off from what I can see. And it was bad timing. It was very bad timing because our wife has just started to attack the capital. We might have gotten in time to deal major damage to them. So our wife had just started sieging down Scotland, started sieging down the capital. And our wife, just after going on a solo run to siege down the Scottish capital, she has given birth to twins. Domengarth and Drost, may you grow to be strong and wise. And I'm unsure about how this is looking. Our wife is withdrawing her forces from the siege. I think all of our allies are withdrawing their forces from the siege. So we have 2,900 troops here. And Scotland has withdrawn and is recovering. It has 2,500, but it has withdrawn, it's recovering its forces, and it's going to bring those back down. I am bringing in about another 600 forces which have been raised in Ireland, and I have handed control of the army back to Coleman, who has, like I said, been made the successor to the accolade, the Red Branch Knight. And if we look quickly at what's going on down here, I think we're defending Mercia from a claim by the King of England, who doesn't seem to be involved in the battle. His son is. So there's Tostig, who's married to our cousin. So yeah, that's going to be a confusing mess if the war is still going on. Of course, that's the problem. Mercia's army isn't in great condition, and we're not in a position to assist them for a while. And there she is, the victor of the Battle of Gorry, like I said. A busy woman. So won this battle, then had twins twice. Ruacoin was driven back by Scottish forces, and it took his wife going in and sorting out the problem for him. And there is Gilachrist, our new vassal in Ulster, doing mighty work to thank us for giving him that title. There's Geodfrey. And I don't think there were any losses a good chunk of injuries on the side of the Scottish, but no losses on either side. Fair play to Laura. After losing his arm in the last battle, he's still fighting. Fair play to him. And we're back to our learning lifestyle perks. Now, at the moment, I'm using my steward to spread the Gaelic culture, so I don't think we're going to be in a position to increase development at any stage. So I don't know, do we want to continue down the scholar route, or should we try and focus on whole of body to keep this man alive? Well, do you know what? He's clearly brave, and his recent actions have also shown him to be foolish. With those sunglasses on, I don't think he's worried about his health. We'll go for scientific. And there we go. The Scottish have gotten their army back together. They have come back down. We're on the verge of taking the capital. However, they're on the verge of hitting our wife's army and wiping it from the map. Are we going to be able to siege this area down and get in time to save her? I don't think they're coming for the capital. They might be. They might be. They're not. Okay, things are not looking good. We've managed to take the capital. We have managed to take the king's wife. Ruoin has been put in charge of the army. We're defending at a river crossing. We're defending in hills. We have defensive buildings. We have a better army commander and more commander traits. Their army supply is running low. They do, however, have more soldiers and more men at arms counter. This is Ruoin's greatest challenge. Our champion Duke Rigoin, who was given land in Wales, has been killed. He was the first to go down. And what a battle that was. Rigoin, the poor man, the Duke of Dehybert, was granted land as a reward, I believe, for his service in conquering the area, and then immediately started claiming land off of people, which delayed our ability in forming the Gaelic culture. He has been succeeded by his son, Fachna. So again, tremendous numbers on the side of our knights. There's Coleman, Gilachrist, Geodfrey. The same old names. I'm not too sure who this is. Do we still have non-Irish allies in the battle? Or is this a new knight who joined us at some stage? So I know our wife's army has been wiped and Mercia's army has had to withdraw. And we're at 70% war score. And with the rate that this war is going on, we have no choice but to call in our newest ally, Holland. So after sleeping with our wife, our archbishop and rival wants me to buy a book. We barely have enough money to keep the army going. This sounds like a you problem. And so Holland enters the war. We've pulled the army back to begin just doing something here while we wait. Because I think if we withdraw from this region, they're going to siege back the capital fairly quickly. Our new court chronicler, Ava, is trying to convince us that Niall of the Nine Hostages was an insularist. On his death, yeah, sure, it's a 53% chance. Chieftain Niall converted to insularism about 500 years after his death. Holland got its army in a lot faster than I expected. Victory is near! So Ava receives me with a generous smile. She's making up more stuff about Niall of the Nine Hostages. We can open the war view, which is highlighted. I'm not too sure what has actually happened here. They haven't taken any territory. Fife was already sieged down from what I know. We're nowhere near sieging down this place. But something has happened on the side of the Scottish that has driven this up to 100%. Take 'em. Enforce demands. Thanks anyway for showing up, Holland. It was the thought that counts rapidly. Ruacoin is going to have to turn his army south and try and lend some level of assistance to the war here in Mercia. We'll appear in West Riding, first of all, and see how things stand at that stage. And as Ruacoin marches in one direction, a wagon departs with the Áed Findliath dynasty banner, which has been removed from the possession of the family for many decades at this stage. Divils, this is the other major issue. We have two large forces arriving. Connacht is going to be able to take out one of them. But these guys, if they raid Dunanowl, we have no troops there to fight them. We've actually just been told, and I'd forgotten to even get her to do this, but our wife has started promoting the legend of the Red Hand of Ulster. And our uncle has been taken prisoner. Oh, those damn Vikings. So, unfortunately, Warwickshire has fallen, and in a few moments, when this region falls, that is going to be 100%. So it looks like Mercia is going to be lost. So Mercia was an alliance that we relied on for a very long time. With those 2,200 forces, I wouldn't be able to take them south to try and lift that siege. I don't think we'd even make it down there in time. We got a worrying message that our steward could no longer continue promoting the culture. Well, that's because the culture has changed in Athlone. We'll go along the coast. And our Archbishop, the devil, managed to convert or to drive out the Lollard heresy. I think it's spread to this region. So we'll get him in there, into the lands of Rigoin's son and heir, Fachna. Well, he's not his heir anymore because his father's dead. And there we go, unfortunately. I would imagine that that is going to be the war come to an end. Are they actually going to come up and attack me? I don't think we'd be able to defend against them. They're at 100% war score. There we go. Oh, the war's been lost. So indeed, our son-in-law, our future potential son-in-law, has been stripped of the title, Duke of Mercia, and reduced to an earldom. It was bad timing. It was bad timing. We were caught in a war that we totally underestimated in Scotland. And we weren't able to get down in time and be of assistance. And so after many years of war, Ruain returns to his court to listen to the words of his archbishop and to sit under the pelt of his dog Bran and look upon the Áed Findliath dynasty banner, which he has seized from the Norse Scottish and restored to the Áed Findliath dynasty. Ruain is undoubtedly the greatest of the High Kings, the creator of the Gaelic culture, and somehow the man who will bring about the final achievement of the legend of the Red Hand of Ulster. It has jumped massively during his recent campaigns. I think because we got the King of England on board, and it has actually started to spread into Brittany as well, possibly because of the fact that we have adopted Brythonic. Now, it doesn't look to have spread into Galicia as yet, but we are now up to exactly 300 baronies. We have 16 promoters, including the Jarl of Dice of Flanders, We have the High Chieftain of Man, we have the King of England. I think that's who's doing most of the work at this stage. And we can open the Chronicle. I know that part of the legend is supposed to have changed as a result of our last war. In the vast expanse of High King Áed's travels, he stumbled upon a breathtaking wonder that defied earthly bounds, a place where the beauty of nature intertwined seamlessly with human ingenuity. Towering spires of exquisite craftsmanship reached towards the heavens, their graceful forms bathed in the soft glow of dawn's first light. Áed took a deep breath, as he could not have wished for a better end. That was the prison that he was in. And so while the legend of the Red Hand of Ulster will recount the tales of Áed, it is surely Ruoin who deserves the credit for bringing about its completion. So he will gain 400 legitimacy, 20 additional legitimacy from the legend protagonist. Gain access to the Expand the Kingdom decision, allowing you to immediately, de jure, drift a duchy title into your realm. A claim to every existing title in the Kingdom of Ireland. The Commission Legend Artifact decision. And he will become ordained 5/5. The Book of the House of Neil, of the Enail. Here is the end of the book of High King Áed and of his noble family, the Enail, whose fame and legitimacy is known across the whole land and Brittany. And here is the end of the Red Hand of Ulster. High King Áed of Ireland was ambushed and harassed time and again by evildoers that sought to prevent him in his righteous quest. Time and again, however, the resourceful Áed outwitted them and escaped their clutches. And here it was written at Dundelgan on the 30th of July, 927 AD. For our foes the hammer, for our friends coffee and biscuits. So it's now that I realise, because I did see a while back that the Legacy of Arthur Pendragon had been added to our library. So what happened, obviously, is that had been achieved. And after it was achieved, basically, England collapsed. It had no legend going on here anymore. And so it collapsed in... There was nothing going on, and the Red Hand was able to spread in there. Now, the first of the new decisions that we have is Expand the Kingdom, which would allow us to drift a duchy permanently into our realm, and we could do that with the Isles. So we could actually drift one of the neighbouring regions, so maybe not the Isles, but I think it's Galloway is the closest one here, so we could drift part of Scotland into our realm. The other option that we have is Commission Legend Artifact, which costs 600 gold. That is a nice chunk of money. And there's also supposed to be something to do with the construction of a palace. I'm not seeing that anywhere. I'm not too sure how to actually unlock that. I have seen people complain that they just kind of drop it in a random place, so you don't really get to choose where this palace is going to be put. They just kind of... It just appears somewhere. Now, I was going to continue on to get the money together to get the legendary artifact. The Pope gave me some money. We're making a lot per month now that we're no longer maintaining a legend, and we could go on some raids and get some money together as long as the Scottish don't beat us up and take all the money off of us. But Ruon's health is ailing, so I think I'll just let him sit by the fire in court under the hide of Bran and look upon all of the amazing things that he has managed to add to his kingdom. Legends of the Dead has been out with a while now, and there have been a number of reviews and a number of people have spoken about it, and there seems to be a consensus around the game, or around the DLC and around the update, which I would largely agree with. Legitimacy is a good idea, valuable addition to the game, but I don't feel it had much of an impact in my game. I don't know if I had high or low legitimacy. And if it was impacting me, I didn't notice. Plagues had a massive impact on the game. Fantastic addition, great to see them back from CK2. One of my rulers died to a plague, so it had a huge impact on the game. It had a meaningful impact in the game in the sense that I had to change the course of raids, I had to call off raids in them early. It made you make decisions at various different points in time, so I thought that was a fantastic addition. I think maybe they were a bit too frequent. They didn't hit Ireland as much, even when the frequency was high at the start. So there's been an update which has reduced the frequency of plagues because people felt that they were a bit too common. They weren't happening all that often in Ireland anyway because of its low development, and I think it's linked to development. So, but I do think it did appear as though plagues were happening a lot more frequently in England and on the continent prior to the update. So I do think that was a good change. But overall, plagues, fantastic. Now, the two of them were part of the free update. The paid update was the Legends, and they haven't been received as well as the other two, and I would agree with that. They're not great. I like the idea. I love the idea of bloodlines in CK2 and where your ruler could die and become a saint if they lived a very pious life. Here, once you get your devotion up, I've actually clicked on it, I think. I'm not too sure where the hell it's gone to now, but I clicked on the... Oh no, I didn't. I went with the Caed Dynasty Legacy. I was just checking something out. But Custodian of the Insular Holy Site. So this is how you become a saint now. And of course you also have the problem that over time, basically this is all going to fade away. You're going to have to come in here, go through the various different legends that are going to be added to this library to see where was the furthest extent of the Red Hand of Ulster when it was completed. So there's going to be no kind of actual physical existence in the world other than the fact that every single county is going to have, like, you're going to have a ton of these after a while. Especially in Central Europe, where you might have a number of neighbouring kingdoms all pushing legends into the centre. And you're just going to have a ton of these indicating all of the legends. It's just going to become a bit cluttered. It feels like you're doing a tremendous amount of work, putting in a tremendous amount of effort and money for some pretty hefty bonuses, but I think people care a lot less about the bonuses than they do about enshrining their legendary characters. I think an idea could have been something like, because I know one of the big complaints is that you're just going to have tons of Custodian of, Custodian of, Custodian of, Guardian of, Custodian of. You see tons of them, and all of these legends, like even the Red Hand of Ulster, what does that mean? I think it might have made a lot more sense if there was, because they're remembering all of these events, and if it allowed you to pick one of them to enshrine as a legend and spread. So, your aunt dying in captivity. If that was a character that you cared a lot about, or if it was somebody who was captured in a violent raid, which had a massive impact on your game, you could enshrine this as a legend. The legendary suffering of your aunt, and your court chronicler is making up all these stories about how she dueled verbally with her captors and spreading the legend of this person. So it's something that's important to you, the player. It's something that's arisen as a result of your gameplay, as opposed to just the Red Hand of Ulster. What does that even mean? Because here in this context, the Red Hand of Ulster is just the story of Áed Findliath's life. But it's also associated with Niall of the Nine Hostages. But the actual legend itself has nothing to do with Niall of the Nine Hostages. And there doesn't seem to be any clear link between the bit of a blurb that we were given when we clicked on the story and what we have here. So I would agree with people who aren't entirely delighted with the way Legends has been handled. Could it be improved? Is there some other changes that could be made? I'm not too sure. I don't think it's something that I'm going to focus a whole heap on in future videos and campaigns. It took up a lot of money. It took up a lot of time. I think maybe in Ireland it's something that you would probably come back to. So taking it day one as we were forming the Kingdom of Ireland, maybe not a great idea. Now that Ruoin has 2 kingdoms under his control, now would be a good time to start thinking about picking up a legend for the first time. So probably not something I'm going to come back to again in future. With that said though, one of my next videos is going to be dealing with a different legend. So I'm half lying when I say that I'm not going to be coming back to this again. But after that then, yeah, I don't think it's a mechanic that I'm going to be spending too much time or effort on in future. I don't think I'd be massively unhappy if I hadn't picked up the paid part of the DLC. If you're thinking about getting it yourself, if you haven't already, I would definitely wait for a sale. So far I've picked up everything on release, but this was one that definitely could have waited for a sale. But yeah, what was your opinions? If you have played this, what are your opinions of the way legends are handled in the game? You'll notice in the last couple of episodes of this campaign, I dealt with the legend very rarely. I would just open up the screen every once in a while to see how many baronies it had spread to. But the big thing with the last couple of episodes was the creation of Gaelish and the conquest of the Kingdom of Wales. The legend, in a campaign in which the legend was the central part of the campaign, it didn't have much of an impact in the last couple of episodes. And I was getting really annoyed by all the... well, I won't say annoyed, but there was far too many pop-ups which seemed to have very trivial options for promoting the legend, getting people who'd already spread the legend to spread the legend again in areas it had already spread to. Do you agree with those complaints? Do you think they're a bit too nitpicky? Have you played the legends? Have you really enjoyed it? I might continue this on over on Twitch. So I might continue on with Ruoin, get that legendary artifact, see if we can figure out how to drop that palace in the middle of the country, see what the early years of Sean's reign might look like. So if you want to see me continue on, do go and head over to Twitch. I'm going to be playing a couple of other games over there for the next while as well, but I might drop in on this one every once in a while to finish off, because I have enjoyed the campaign, but not really because of the legends or what the legends actually brought to it. So do go and check out the links below in the description to the Maniacal Inc Twitch channel and to the Discord, where you can go and you can shout at me to continue playing this if you want to. Other than that, thank you all very much for joining me on this episode and on this campaign, and thank you for spreading the legend of the Red Hand of Ulster.